Hey, Taylor Rapp here from the LA Rams. Shout out to Steve Taylor, the real sports guy, and the honorary Ram. When Steve's talk sports, you better listen. Thanks, Steve from the Rams, for your continued support and love. We are taking it all the way this year, but you already know that. Go Rams.
It's the show that you asked for. It's Keeping It Real Sports, and we are live, all the way live. I'm the real sports guy, Steve Taylor. He is the Sandman, Andy Sanzada. Talk to me, Sandman.
Good morning, Steve Taylor. Good morning, everyone out there in the media world as well. We are excited to be live. We just feel like this is going to be better for us and for you, and can't wait to get things started. We got a great show in store for you today.
Absolutely do. Make sure, comment, follow us along in the show. Tell us what you like. If you want to follow us in and give us your comments, we'll put them up on the screen and we'll talk about all of that. But without further ado, we got to get into the hurry up. Andy, you ready?
Oh,
Hurry up.
Kick us off into the hurry up, my good friend.
all right, Steve. Well, hurry up wise, we had the national championship last Monday. So, that was a really good game. Georgia finally were able to overcome the nemesis that was the Alabama Crimson Tide. They played a hell of a game. I do think Jamison Williams going down had a little bit of a factor into that game because Alabama lost their playmaker. But I'm not going to make an excuse for Georgia winning that game. They went out there and put a great game plan together. And, how about the walk-on, Stetson Bennett? What a story. MVP, played phenomenally, had the fumble, looked like they were going to lose the game, and then goes right back down the next drive and ends up winning it for him. So, was a great game to watch. And I give a lot of credit to Nick Saban. He was really classy in his post-game press conference and congratulated Georgia and his friend Kirby Smart on the job that they did. So, very entertaining, but college football needs someone else in the national championship, Steve. And we'll get
Andy,
into that as we get
that are out there. It kind of is what it is, my hat's off to Georgia. I got to tip the cap to those guys, man. Defensively, the speed is what jumped off the screen to me with Georgia. What normally would be looks like it's a 10-yard gain. Well, it's a 2-yard gain. Sideline to sideline, man. Nakobe Dean was the truth. The kid Scene was the absolute truth. But my hat's off to Stetson Bennett. Stetson showed that he was a quarterback and not a cologne. And so there it is. So moving up into the hurry up, because of course, man, I tipped the cap, man. We'll come back to our quick hitters because we'll get into those. But man, the thing for me in the hurry up, Andy, was the coaches that were fired, man. You look at Black Monday, Denver let go of Vic Fangio hours after their game on Saturday. Minnesota fired its head coach. They did a clean house. 3 teams did clean house, clean sweeps. GM and head coach Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman. They go. I get the Vikings, man. That's a team that is ready to win now. And I guess the excuses are over for Mike Zimmer. Give me your thoughts on Zim.
Well, I just think that they had to make a change, Steve. I felt like this was a year that the Vikings should have gotten into the wild card, right? I mean, look at their season. The beginning of the year, they win another 2 or 3 of those games, and now we're talking about them competing with Green Bay for the division, let alone the wild card. So the fact that they just couldn't close out games, to me, I just feel like his time was up there. He had a really good run. He made the playoffs 3 times, but they need a philosophy change in Minnesota. They have the talent. They just need a philosophy change. So I agree with that one. The one that kind of surprised me until I read, the specifics behind it was Brian Flores. I mean, Miami was right there winning 7 in a row and giving themselves a chance at a wild card and looking like a team nobody wanted to play. And then you hear about all this discontent with the ownership and the quarterback. And so, they're going to do, you don't get along with your boss, you're going to lose your job regardless of how successful you are. So I think that's what happened there. But there were some other ones that, I know you're going to get into a little bit later, that you and I just don't agree with, don't sit well with us. The one I could have definitely told you was going to happen and definitely should have happened was Matt Nagy. He just is not a good head coach. I think he's going to be better off being a coordinator somewhere else. And then Joe Judge, which came later, but that one had to happen as well. He just wasn't head coach material, in my opinion. So those two I wasn't surprised by. And as soon as Gettleman stepped down, you had to just see the writing on the wall that they were going to pull the trigger and get Judge out of there.
Yeah. Well, Joe Judge, for all intent and purposes, Andy, wrote his own ticket when he did a quarterback sneak from the 3-yard line in the wing tee. I mean, get out of here, man. There is nothing more elementary than that, know, and that's telling you that's what your fans have to look forward to. So at that point, he should have went and cleared out his office. That one was a no-brainer. The Denver one is a little bit of a head scratcher because that defense is nasty.
The defense was nasty, but you have to score, and their offense was inept. And I know Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, but I still don't think he's
they're a quarterback away, Andy. They're a quarterback away.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were, if you recall, they were in the Aaron Rodgers Street sweepstakes. Now let's just imagine. Let's play what if. What if they'd have got him back in a trade like they were talking?
But here's
we're not holding that discussion right now.
Well, we still might be, and here's why, Steve. Because if there's one division as a quarterback you don't want to go to have to play in every season, it's the AFC West. You'd have to play Justin Herbert twice, Derek Carr twice, and Patrick Mahomes twice. There's no guarantee you're going to win all 6 of those games in the division. So I think that's one of the reasons why Aaron Rodgers didn't push Green Bay to send him to Denver, because he knows, he's crafty, Steve. He's a very smart football player, and he knew that coming back to Green Bay would give him the best chance at a Super Bowl. But if he does decide to leave Green Bay, which, by the way, I don't think he will, and I'll put that on the record today, I don't think he will, then I think he's going to go somewhere where he can just walk right into a division title at this late in his career.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what he's looking forward to. So, man, there you are, man. Hurry up, man. Yeah. And, man, good. We are live. Can you believe that, Andy?
I'm loving it. Look,
the way live.
Views are coming up. People are starting to pick up on what we're doing here, and it's only going to get better. This is
only going to get better as we continue to move on. Hey, we're going to come back, man. Hey, I'm going to take a quick 30-second, man, timeout and let us kind of regroup. We're going to step aside. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk a little. Hurry up. We got some things that we need to get off our chest. Well, you're in watching Keeping It Real Sports. We'll be right back. Hey, it's me, Steve Taylor, the real sports guy. And when I look to do laundry, I'll call Dave and Angie at Select Laundry Services, 421 Main Street. Select has been servicing the East Side for over 15 years with its laundering services. So if you're looking for a good, clean, inexpensive place to do your laundry, it's Select, 421 Main Street. There's always an attendant on hand. 419-764-9368. Select Laundry Services.
Hurry up.
some technical difficulties
Yeah,
here, Steve. I think we wanted to go to quick hitters next.
we did want to go to quick hitters. Let's go to quick hitters.
All right, let's do it.
All right, man. Quick hitters. You're up first.
All right. Well, obviously, mine has to be the situation in Australia with Novak Djokovic. I mean, you know, he comes clean and says he had COVID in the last 6 months, and then they say, okay, you can play. And now the government in Australia says, no, regardless of that, we want to revoke his visa. We want this man out of our country. We don't want him playing on our tennis courts. We don't want him around our public. And, you know, he's probably not going to be playing in this year's Australian Open. And, you know, if they're going to do this, Steve, just get it over with for Novak and for everybody out there that's waiting for the decision to be made. It's not fair to him or to the fans. And I will tell you right now that regardless of the circumstances, if Novak Djokovic is not playing in the Australian Open, I promise you their ratings will drop instantaneously. So that's my first one today on the quick hitters.
Yeah, well, just, you know, I mean, I totally understand your frustration, Novak, but, you know, I mean, man, you playing their game, you playing by their rules, you got to do what they say, man. That's just kind of how it is. And Novak, you're Djokovic, you are not an exception to the rule. It is what it is. I tell you what else it is, man, is the Milwaukee Bucks. Did you see what they did to the Golden State Warriors the other night? They led by as many as 39. Giannis Antetokounmpo had a 30, 12, and 11 triple-double. Steph Curry's shooting struggles continued.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Andy, it is time. It's like 6 games throughout the NBA season. They are litmus test games, okay? Milwaukee has passed 2 of these already this year because they've totally smoked the Nets when they were coming to town at full strength, and they sent a message, a resounding message to NBA Nation on Tuesday night when they ripped Golden State, led by 40 at one point in that game.
You know, everybody was talking about the success Chicago was having and the fact that they were first in the East. You and I both know it's going to go through Milwaukee or the Nets. Those are the only 2 teams to me that are going to have a chance at winning a championship coming out of the East. And, you know, like we always say, and we've always said on shows past, you can't be the champs until you beat the champs. And I think the fact that they're not getting enough credit for what they're doing now, they're just going to come out there and play like they did against Golden State, against everybody, and remind people that they are the current NBA champions.
Yeah, absolutely. Quick hitters, Andy, you're up.
Steve, we talked about this a few shows ago. I went off on it in my sound off. Major League Baseball, what the hell are you doing? I mean, that's a perfect image of what's going to happen because they had a minimal attempt at a meeting with the players, and once again, it went nowhere. You know, there were a lot of different sticking points. We don't have enough time to get into those. We'll get into those as we progress closer to what could be spring training, but I don't see it happening, Steve. I don't think there's going to be a spring training in the near future until they make a better option presented for the players. And I just think that the players are in a position where they're like, look, you don't have a game without us. So, you know, we basically are going to hold you at ransom until you give us what we want. Yeah. And Major League Baseball is going to lose a lot of money if they don't give in and do that. And Rob Manfred needs to step his ass down because he's still, and I'll say this till I go to the ground, the worst commissioner I've ever seen in professional sports.
Hard to argue that one. Hard to argue. And I tell you what else is hard to argue, man, is tonight's main event for UFC 270. Cyril Gane against my main man, Francis Ngannou. Man, this is going to be a big fight. Moreno and Figueroa, they do it again for the 3rd time. Man, Greg Hardy is on this card. He steps it up, man. I don't know if you've seen Greg Hardy fight, but
I have not. But based on what
good.
you were telling me, this is a true fight night. This isn't we're going to get on the ground and try to submit you. This is I'm going to knock your ass down, and the first one that doesn't get back up is going to be the one that doesn't win.
Well, Francis Ngannou is the heavyweight champion. Cyril Gane is the interim champion because of COVID, and Ngannou had to back down from a fight. So you got the interim champion fighting the undisputed champion for heavyweight championship man of the world, man. I can't wait tonight, man. I'm definitely going to be in attendance checking that one out, man. Quick hitters, man.
Yeah, there we go. That's why we call it such a quick segment, because it's in and out. We give you a little snippet, but then
Yeah, man, we give you a little
it's
bit of
time to
something.
move on to where are we going next, Steve?
Well, where we're going is to the BDI top 10. What you think about that one, Andy?
I think I got something fancy for you on that one, my friend. Here we go.
See, yeah, it's all up to you, brother. So let's go with it, man. And Andy, let's start out. Number 10. Number 10 this week is the USC Trojans. Give me your thoughts on them.
I watched the game against Stanford that was on earlier in the week, Steve, and there's a big concern I have with this team, and it might seem minimal to some, but it's going to cause them issues, and it did in this game. They cannot make free throws down the stretch. They missed 10 free throws alone in the second half, and I think they missed 15 or 16 in the game. You cannot make it into the NCAA tournament and do damage if you cannot close out games. So that's the one concern I have with this team.
Yeah, good guard play, and you got to be able to shoot free throws. But we got them number 10 this week. Number 9, we've got the Kansas Jayhawks. And I tell you, Andy, man, I love the inside-out game. Okay, they dropped the game over the week, but that's going to happen. They play in the SEC. Things happen in the SEC. But Kansas...
and then in the Big 12, Steve, yeah, and that's a tough. I mean, there are 4 or 5 legitimately really good conferences, and you're going to see that as we go through the top 10, because a lot of these teams that we had when we did this have already lost a game since we put this together.
Yeah, but again, this is from the BDI. This is what I see when they show me what they do. So here we go. Number 8, Arizona Wildcats, and Andy, they right now might be the best team in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of depth in that conference. It's going to come down to them and UCLA, I think, when it's all said and done. But right now they're playing the best basketball, no question about that.
They definitely are. I tell you who else is playing good basketball is number 7, and that's Sparty and the Michigan State Spartans. And man, Izzo, another fantastic job.
Steve, this team is starting to remind me of the national championship team in 2001 that didn't have that one great player, but man, they all played so well on defense and collectively as a team. They had a lot of depth on their bench, and we can't say enough about Izzo and his success. So watch out for Sparty, because they're starting to make a lot more noise than we anticipated early on, for sure.
Yeah, I tell you who else is making noise is number 6. That'll be the Auburn Tigers. And these dudes are glass cleaners. They get after it on the glass.
Yeah, and Jabari Smith is looking like a lottery pick already. He's that quintessential 3 that the NBA is looking for. He's got the speed. He's got that length for defense, and he can score, and he can shoot the 3 as well. So watch for his name to climb up the draft boards as this season goes along.
So number 6 is Auburn. Number 5 is the UCLA Bruins. And Johnny Juzang goes over 20. Couldn't make the game tying shot as the Bruins go down by 3 the other night. But you just see the talent, man, just oozing out of UCLA.
Yeah, and Mick Cronin's a great coach, Steve. I'm not worried about this team. Like you said, the Pac-12 is going to be, tough to get through this year. But that's why I said that I think it's UCLA and Arizona in the end, because I believe in this team. And credit to Oregon, they went in there and they got a win in overtime and on the road. So
their first road win versus the top 3 team.
Yeah, I will say this though, there were no fans in the building because of COVID protocols, and that I think would have made a difference.
Yeah, definitely would have. But they get the job done. But UCLA comes in at number 5. Number 4 is the Purdue Boilermakers, and Andy, we both like this team. A lot of size. They've got NBA talent. The kid in the middle is unmovable. They got good guard play. They can shoot it. They can hurt you in a lot of different ways. They're going to be a factor in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and the Big Ten is another conference that anybody can win, Steve. So when I see a loss here and there from teams that we have in this list, I'm not panicked, because come tournament time, then I might start panicking. But we got a long way to go.
Long
People
way.
are, forget we're only halfway, if not even halfway through the college basketball season.
Absolutely. Purdue comes in at number 4. Number 3 is the Duke Blue Devils. And man, I tell you, the drive, the push for Coach K's championship is on and popping right now, people.
Yeah, I mean that's what everybody's going to be looking at with Duke is they're going to keep an eye on them to make sure that they're strong enough to try to get it done in the end. That's what it's going to come down to, and they'll probably win the ACC walking away, in my opinion.
Yeah. Number 2, I had to rub the ball dome a little bit to try to get a little bit of clarity, but I put Gonzaga at number 2, man. Timmy goes for 30, man, last night. Strasner had 21. I mean, they can beat you in so many different ways. And we ain't even talking about the big 7-foot kid.
Yeah, and the big 7-foot kid right now is number 1 on the draft boards too, by the
You
way.
think?
For good reason. He's just
Right.
got so much versatility and skill. But you and I picked Gonzaga to be there in the end before the season started. I don't see anything that makes me believe that we should change that pick right now.
Absolutely. Gonzaga number 2. And number 1, the Baylor Bears. I mean, Andy, you were texting me as they were losing a nail biter this week. But I mean, they were on the road and they were up 17 before they took the pedal off the metal, man. And you can't do that in this day and age, man. These teams are too good. They're coming after you.
And Texas Tech is known for their defense, right? And this matchup is a matchup I think you're going to see down the road as well in the tournament, whether it's the conference tournament or the NCAA tournament. These two teams are identical. The only difference is Baylor has a little bit more skill at the guard position, but Texas Tech is a team I wouldn't want to play because of how well they play defense.
Yeah, absolutely. So there it is, man. The BDI Hoops Top 10.
There we go.
Yeah, there we are, man. And Andy, that brings us to, as we get near the playoffs, the NFL playoffs. We were talking about segments, and so we wanted to take and look at the quarterbacks that are in the playoffs. And we're not talking about the team, we're talking about the quarterback that we trust the most in each conference. And so we came up with a little list.
Yes, we have an AFC list and an NFC list. I believe you'll throw that up there.
And so let's look at quarterback confidence meters.
Okay. So we've got the AFC on the left. We've got the NFC on the right. And, I'll let you start it off because we agreed on this list, but I think there's a few spots where we can move some numbers around here. So I'll let you run it down.
Okay,
and then
yeah, because for all intent and purposes, this was the list that I gave to you. And so, in the AFC, I mean, I had the most trust in Patrick Mahomes. I mean, what's understood don't need to be explained. I've preached this all year. Patrick Mahomes he's the top dog in the AFC. Do you have any complaints about that one?
No. This one there was no question about, no argument whatsoever. So we can keep moving on.
Okay, Josh Allen was again, not the team but the quarterback.
Correct.
I trust Josh Allen, and then Joe Burrow.
Yeah, and everybody's like, "Wow, Roethlisberger's won 2 Super Bowls. Why is he all the way at the bottom? Tannehill's been to an AFC championship. Why is he below?" We're talking about who's playing the best football right now, and there's not a quarterback, including the guys on the right side, by the way, that's playing better than Joe Burrow right now. So that's why we've got him at number 3.
Got him at number 3. Number 4, I've got Derek Carr. 5, I have Ryan Tannehill, Ben Roethlisberger at number 6, and then Mac Jones. You know my stance on rookie quarterbacks, Andy.
Well, and what I've seen from Mac Jones in the last 3 weeks, Steve, is why you feel that way, and that's why I agree with you that he should be at the bottom of the list. The only thing that I might debate just a little bit is flipping Carr and Tannehill because Tannehill's been there before.
Understood.
But the
way that they're playing right now,
Exactly. And that's why Roethlisberger's so low on this list. I mean, he just
Exactly.
looks like he's so ready to retire, Steve. He can't throw the ball more than 20 yards down the football field. And you and I both know they don't have a chance against Kansas City unless Kansas City makes their own mistakes.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. So, I think that's a good comprehensive list overall. You've got the Chiefs coming out of the AFC. I've got the Bills. So we'll wait and see what happens. We'll get
We
into
will.
our picks here in a little bit.
Okay. And so we look at the NFC as we speed this up a bit. I mean, I put Tom Brady number one because he's got 7 of them things, man. And Rodgers got one.
Yeah,
You know.
they're both playing outstanding football. To me, those two are interchangeable as far as right now. I'm not
But who
talking
I have
about,
the confidence in now
yeah,
is Tom Brady.
yeah. Well,
Tom Brady now.
I don't have a problem with that.
Rodgers, and then the trepidation comes in. Matthew Stafford, and this is based upon what he's done for me
Mhm.
lately. Kyler Murray has kind of been in a tailspin. Dak Prescott, I do not trust at all. His game is just not. It is not level. He's either hot or he's cold. There's no in between with Dak Prescott. Jimmy G, man, he played a great game on Sunday. I Monday night or Sunday, it was Sunday. I got to give him credit. Jimmy G, he did his thing, brought his
Yep.
team back. But the rest of the other quarterbacks on the list, I just trust more than Jimmy G. And then Jalen Hurts, it is what it is.
Well,
I mean, when you're 0-6 against playoff teams, I mean, you got to be at the bottom.
well, yeah, no, I understand that. But here's the thing about Garoppolo, Steve. I think he might have turned a corner last week, and I could move him up over Prescott or Murray as far as who I trust right now, not in their playoff history. Right now, there could be something that could be said there to move him up, but
Right.
that is what it is, and that's what we came.
Yeah, that's what we came up with. So let's get into the playoffs and let's look at the playoff at Super Wild Card Weekend.
Yes.
Okay, Andy, and let's start with the AFC. The first game today is going to be the Oakland Raiders against the Cincinnati Bengals, the Vegas Raiders. And the reason I say Oakland is because I did a little digging on that, Andy.
Uh-huh.
Do you know that since the Bo Jackson injury, the Cincinnati Bengals are 0-8 in the playoffs?
I did know that, and the reason I know that is because I lived in that city for 3 years, and that's all I heard about. So,
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Steve. I think that we have a integer that's been injected into this game that we weren't expecting when the matchup was finalized last week, and that's the snow. You're going to see a lot of snow in Cincinnati, and it'll be really interesting to see how Vegas handles that, because I think that's going to affect their game plan. But at the same time, it could affect Joe Burrow too. Even though Joe Burrow grew up in Ohio, this will be a big test for him to have that weather play a factor in the game. Regardless, though, I think you and I agree Cincinnati moves on and gets that first playoff win in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I love the way the Cincinnati offense is moving right now. I'd have to agree with that. That is the most attractive game, I think, today. The most interesting game of the day features the Buffalo Bills playing host to the New England Patriots. Mac Jones, the rookie quarterback, gets his first playoff action. One thing we know about Belichick, what you want to do, you're not going to be able to do. You're going to have to do the next thing.
Yeah, and you had a great breakdown of how New England won that game by only running the football, but a credit to Brian Daboll and the Bills' offensive staff, because they made the adjustments against that defense in the rematch. So this is the rubber match now, but a lot more stakes are stakes are a lot higher now. And listen, Steve, I've got Buffalo in the Super Bowl, so obviously I'm going to take them to win this game.
It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting, and I would like to definitely. I would probably pick Buffalo if you put rubber to the road. The other game, I don't think we really need to spend a lot of time talking about. Kansas City is Kansas City.
Yep.
When we look at the other side, I don't think we need to really spend a lot of time talking about the Tampa Bay game against the Eagles. Eagles 0-6 against playoff teams this year, including a 28-22 loss earlier this year to Tampa Bay. I don't think much is going to change there. The interesting game to me is San Francisco versus Dallas. This is potentially a bad matchup for the Dallas Cowboys, because of their inability to stop the run. I mean, they do get after it, and they can pose problems for Jimmy G coming off the edge. But the thing is, man, they hit a lot of quick passing. Their quick passing game will be in full display, and then they run the ball, man, like bullies, man. This is a very interesting matchup. Just for giggles, man, who you got?
You might be surprised by this. I told you all season I was going to pick Dallas to make the playoffs and win the East. They did that. However, I am like you. I have a lot of questions about the way Dak Prescott is playing right now. And after that comeback last week, I just think San Francisco has all the momentum in the world. And I think they go into Dallas and pull an upset. So I've got the Niners moving on in this one.
Yeah, man, that's it. That's going to be interesting. And then the last game of the weekend will be the Rams playing host to the Cardinals. This one here is the third time around for these two guys. J.J. Watt talking about possibly coming back. This could be interesting to me. It's all about Raheem Morris because honestly, I want Vic Fangio in my life. That's what I need in my life. So
well,
there you.
This game could determine whether or not that happens sooner rather than later. But I think it comes down to the quarterback play in this matchup. I think that both teams have the ability to force some turnovers on defense. But which quarterback is going to play the way that they're capable of playing? To me, that's going to make the difference. But in the end, I think that Aaron Donald and Von Miller in that defense are going to be a little too much for Kyler Murray a second time around. So I've got the Rams moving on.
Well, I hope you're right. And Andy, that brings us to sound off, to where, man, we get to tell you what is on our mind. And so, Andy, you're first up, and I'm going to ask you, what are you going to sound off about? Go ahead and sound off, brother.
Thanks, Steve. Well, listen, I had trouble finding something this week. It was kind of a calm week, but the one thing that really has bothered me over the last few weeks is the transfer portal in the NCAA situation, and all these college athletes that don't get what they want. So, like a little child, they go into this, portal, and they can just be picked by anybody and go anywhere they want. And I want you to put that graphic that I made up, Steve, because these quotes are telling to me because of who they're coming from. Okay. And a lot of the coaches around the country were asked about the transfer portal and what it's done for college football. And if we could get that up there you go. So these are three of the most popular coaches, most respected coaches in college football. And look at these quotes. Ryan Day, who has taken advantage of the portal, still doesn't agree with the portal, Steve. Quote, I think it's dangerous to live in the portal world. I don't think it's sustainable for the chemistry and culture of your team to be doing that. Okay? What he's saying is, I'm playing with fire if I bring somebody in that doesn't fit the mold of my team just because they're a 5-star prospect. Okay? Lane Kiffin, let's not make a mistake. We have free agency in college football. Is there a more potent quote than that? That's what it is. It's free agency. And I don't like it. I think it's ruining college sports. I understand the name, image, and likeness thing. Fine. These guys get scholarships. The NCAA makes money off their names. They should make money. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with free agency because it's not fair to the universities and it's not fair to the fan base. And then look at Dabo Swinney, who has definitely seen his team have an effect on the transfer portal. It's total chaos right now. There's so much tampering going on and so many adults manipulating young people, and it's really sad. And that's the problem I have with the transfer portal, Steve, is all of these boosters, all these rich people that can step in there and say, hey, you want to make money? Come here. Come help our team. Come do this. Come become a better player. I get wanting to go into the transfer portal if you're not playing, okay? I don't have a problem with athletes that are 3 or 4 down on the depth chart that can go to another school and play immediately. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these guys that aren't willing to be patient enough for their opportunity and just jump ship. So to me, it's hurting college sports, and I think something needs to be done to get it under control.
Great sound off as usual, my friend. For me, it's the NFL and what's going on. in a league that is 70% African American. Now, folks, I'm not telling you what I feel right now. I'm stating facts. In a league that is 70% African American and 30% white, why in we have 32 head coaching opportunities and only one head coach? I mean, can somebody please make me understand that? You know, Mike Tomlin is the only African American coach after what the Houston Texans did on Monday, firing their coach after 1 year, after not supporting the man, by the way. But after not supporting the man, by the way, you traded away the whole damn team. You traded away the whole damn team. The quarterback couldn't play. You traded away his best. DeAndre Hopkins is in Arizona as well as J.J. Watt. You traded away your best assets, but you expect this man to win? Time after time, African Americans get coaching jobs. But what are they? They're the Texans. They're the Jets. They're the Cardinals. I mean, Steve Keim got 1 year, for crying out loud. Quarterback was wrong. He got fired. They brought in Kyler Murray, and the rest is history. I mean, please, somebody help me understand this. Or am I just wrong? How in the heck can there be 32? Can there be 32 head football coaches in the National Football League? 6 of them, mind you, 5 of them are former players. Now, out of the 5 that are former players, we only got 1 African American when there's 70% African Americans in the league. Somebody please help me understand this. I'm not getting this. And obviously, the NFL ain't either. It's got to be fixed. And that's my sound off.
You're absolutely right. That's all I can say about that. You are absolutely right. Something has to be done. And the NFL continues to talk about end racism and disparity and everybody unite. But they're hypocrites, Steve, because they're not doing it in their own organization.
No, they're not. Right. So there you go, Andy. Man, our first show is in the books, man.
First live one. We'll see how everybody responds to that. We had a few glitches here and there, but we'll get those worked out.
We only get graded just a little bit later. Hey, and until next time,
we wish you love
and peace.